Oh,
Hi, Val. Bolt me. Thank you.
I don't see her online, but looking at Discord, it looks like she already sent out the invites.
Yeah, I think I got it like an hour ago. Oh, I rotated. I'm always rotating. I'm a serial rotator. Yeah. I lost like a half hour's worth of work on my room just a little bit ago. I was like, yeah, I'm done with the
Backup
roof.
saves.
I had like a half hour backup save, but it was like a half hour.
Oh,
Huh?
oh, it automatically backs up.
What? And automatically?
Yeah, there's a backup. Not the normal save. There's a backup save. If you go into your watch, go to settings, and it's under advanced.
Hello. Advanced. Page 2? Excuse me, I don't see it. Is it because we're not in a private... I'm trying to see my watch. I don't see
Go
it.
to
Oh,
advanced.
backup. Okay, mine's off. Okay. I'm going to fix
if you're
that.
into making rooms, don't turn it off.
It's automatically off. Well, thank you. You just taught me something very important. No, I know.
Automatically set to 5 minutes.
I
You
never
turned it off at some point.
I don't think I ever just...
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I'll have to fix that.
All right, we're gonna get going, guys. We're gonna get going. So make sure if you're not partied up right now, go ahead and party up.
What color should I watch be?
Go on, lad, you won't.
Pink.
Alright.
Lucas finished.
Let's
Lucas
go,
finished.
gamers.
Lucas,
This is
here you
my
go.
first time.
All right.
Did you guys really just
I spent the whole 5 minutes on it.
Okay.
Here, I'll take
one
another
here.
Wait,
Only I
gonna
can eat
get
it.
for Coach Best, guys.
We're
Origami.
You're
gonna
get
him, Cookie.
Origami.
Fist bump, origami.
Not yet. All right, we're gonna go this way.
Sound that you have to miss that.
Next one, let's go.
Is origami here? Where's origami?
Do a backflip, you won't.
All right, guys. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go over a couple of things, and we're gonna actually make a couple of things. So, but as I'm talking, let's not disrupt or tug over somebody. Like, try to wait your turn. If you guys have a problem, raise your hand, and then we'll get one of the teachers will get to you. Please do not scale yourself up. You do push people out of the way when you do that. So people are going to be working on some pretty detailed stuff here because we're going to build off Snap today, and I feel like everybody here already understands what the Snap settings do and how to work with them. And at this point, if you don't understand how to work with them, let's talk about that. Okay. Meanwhile, what we're going to do is I'm gonna pull out some examples here real quick. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Cool.
So go ahead and get in your circles. I'm gonna fix some things here. Alright, guys. So the reason why you can't hear everybody is because I put a role in the room where everyone is at a different level of speaking, and I am at a higher level of speaking. And that's what roles can do for your games. So, like, if you were doing like a theater, for example, your audience could be only hear the person next to them, but not everybody around them, and everybody who's on stage can talk very loudly without being interrupted by the crowd. All right, so that's a really good stuff to have in your rooms if you guys are setting up stuff like that. So let's just go over a couple things here. We're going to be learning terrain tools, guys. We're going to learn how to make terrains, and I'm going to show you how to build off Snap because it's actually quite easy. It just looks difficult and hard to do, but it really is not at all hard to do. I'm going to go ahead and scale this down. And Sun, could you get in the circle, please? That'd be very great. Thank you. Okay, so everybody, I want you guys to draw out a just a regular cube. Not a cube, but like try to make it like a rectangle. And you're gonna try to make a rectangle similar to this. I'm gonna pass this around real quick. You want to make this type of shape. guys, this type of shape. So hopefully you guys are
Does it have
paying
to be
attention.
brown?
So this type of shape.
No.
Yeah. So go ahead and create this shape.
Oh.
And make it like a ground shape color too, because if you don't really, I mean, you could make it rock, you can make it gray, but let's just go for brown for now, and then you can get a little more experimental a little bit later. Couldn't figure it out.
Stop being childish
Okay.
and cut the limited
So if you are on screen mode, if you take a look at your menu, there's like three little dots that pop up on the left-hand corner of your menu on your screen, and you click on that to get to the menu options there. So everything else is pretty much similar, and then there will be a lot more added to screen mode since you know it's a really big platform and we do support that.
I will be right back. Okay, yep.
All right, so now that you guys have all this shape here, I want you to clone this exact shape. Go ahead and clone it. And you could do it by, like, once you press the clone option, you're going to see these little plus arrows that pop up. Go ahead and select one of those plus arrows and you get kind of this option. So I want to make sure that you take a look at your maker pen again and, like, on the upper right hand corner, deselect all snap settings. All right, so now that you deselect all snap settings, yep,
Did you say
don't-
deselect? Okay.
yep, don't even be on snap. Just deselect all those settings. So now that you're off those settings, you can move your object around pretty freely. It's really nice, give you a little more organic feel there. Once you guys do that, go ahead and kind of like press it against the other shape. And I'm gonna blow this up real quick here so you guys understand what I'm saying here. Scale. You don't have to scale yours at all, but I'm gonna scale mine so you guys can see. So like this. So you're gonna see this kind of like kind of edge look, like I'm getting these like little edges. They're not too fine. I don't want it to be too fine. I want it to be not perfect so that it looks more organic, and it looks like kind of like it's at an angle a little bit. So you're trying to make cliff at this point. So like a cliff is never straight. Like it's not going to be side by side. It's not going to be uniform like you would see a fence. You definitely want it to be like angular, have some angle to it. Like you're gonna want to see some kind of like cliffs, kind of like siding there. So you go ahead and try to tilt it as much as possible. And like tilting it means like you can see here, it's kind of like at an angle, guys. It's at an angle. Okay. You don't want, if it's side by side, then you just angle it a little bit more. Yeah, it's looking good. That's pretty good. Yeah, good. You did it very drastically, but that's still good.
I'm just looking like a circle.
All right. Yeah, see, that's still looking good there. Awesome. Right now I'm using sand, but you can use any material you like.
What is this?
Very nice.
This is not.
If you're using wood, you might want to change it to like a sand or a kind of like dirt look, because we are not doing wood. This is going to be like a cliff. So like a cliff will be kind of like sandy. It's not going to be uniformed or any form of like fine structure at all. Very good. Awesome. So what you're going to do is you're going to select those two shapes again and then apply it to the other side. Like not the other side, but like, alongside. So I'm going to clone these two shapes here. And then I'm just going to like angle it even more so. And like have it like this. I don't know, I'll pass this around again. So on this side, you can see that it's even more so. Like I'm just like cloning what have. Yeah, there you go. Good, good. All right, so I think yours is actually still looking too straight. You need to like angle it a little bit more because you got this curve, but like it's still a little straight there.
It's so goddamn beautiful.
Yeah, yours is still a little straight too, so you want to like curve it a little bit more.
That's what she's.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Good. Getting there. All right, so when I tilt this way, if I like put this on the ground like this, I can see like I go on bumps and stuff like that. I can I can really see that there's like some type of like dirt mass.
Am I making this?
And they're gonna. All right, so you're gonna do it again. So you're gonna go ahead and clone it. Go ahead and select all of those shapes and clone it
What
again.
have I created?
And then I'm actually gonna tilt it the other direction. Even more
Fuck your
so.
body. And I can, you know, it's in my home. Steam.
And I kind of have this look to it. Like I got some shapes coming out a little bit more. I got some going in. I got some like at angles going zigzag in a way. So I got a lot of these like forms happening here. Yeah. Doing really good. Alex, awesome. Very good. Okay. Cool. Looking good, guys. That's looking great. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take this cliff and you're actually going to draw out a small little green block. And when I say like a little green, I'm just going to make a, you know, a dirt form, and then I'm just going to color it green here.
Did I put too much?
And then, no, that's fine. Much is good. Too much is good. All right, so you see, like I kind of, very good. That's exactly it. I would make it a little bit smaller. Make it a little bit smaller. Do you see?
Small. Mine is huge.
Yeah. So like mine looks really big because what I'm doing it to the relative size of my shape here. So I'm taking this shape right here, and then I'm going to try to like cover that. So it, like it's covering just the top of that one particular shape.
Is there a grass texture?
No.
No, that's not.
So like my shape is covering just the top of that one shape that's at an angle. So if your shape is like no, we're learning how to make terrain. We're learning how to make terrain. All right. So what you're gonna do is like some of you guys have already done it already. Like you just took this shape here and you kind of cloned it along the side of your other objects. I would do that. So I would like actually take this shape and I would like clone it. And like what you could do is you actually could like you see the shape here. If you want to get a little more detailed, you could actually take this shape and angle it just so slightly and kind of like align it pretty nicely. Overlapping the other shapes. And then just trying to get that kind of like very nice organic feel.
Bradley, yours looks mental, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. No,
She knows
working on it.
All right, so as what you could see when this happens, we are going to get some kind of gaps in. I'm going to say that's all right. So you see these little gaps that you might get here because you want to create some kind of evolution so that it doesn't seem too flat. That is perfect. So what you do when you come to that kind of scenario, you just go into and just drag. You can drag up shapes if you wanted to. You could have like dirt show through a little bit so it looks a little bit like has like rocks forming. Or what you could do, if you don't want that, you can take the shape here and angle it just so slightly. And then I'm going to make this smaller here. All right. So now that we have like this kind of like looking form cliff, let's go ahead, let's make some dirt. Like, you know, surrounding the area. We could extend this part, but what we're going to do is we're going to work on the bottom part of the cliff here. I'm going to go ahead and clone this other side here. So I just have this other side here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and bring out a small little light bulb so people can see kind of nicely here. This side, it's kind of hard to see. All right, so we have this kind of like cliff, but we kind of need some dirt around it. So go ahead and draw another green square. And I would try to make that like pretty thick, actually. I would try to make that not a very thin. square, I would try to make it pretty thick there. So as you can see, you have like a pretty thick square. I have a really thick one. So it's pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go at an angle here. Guys, I'm going to go at an angle. I'm going to press it again. Clip. So it looks like there's like some formation happening. Whereas the clumps of dirt seems like they're spiking out, where there's actually kind of like a hill looking area. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this side so people understand what I'm talking about. So go ahead and like create that type of look. And then I'm going to kind of angle it a little bit more and just kind of like go around the area there. Oh, wait. I'm going to make some adjustments because issues, but so now as you can see, that looks pretty nice. Got some cliff formations, and then we got some nice like smooth off. Now you could do even like steeper too, so you could like take this
We're
cliff.
running out of ink fast. Oh my god.
Oh, we are?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Remember, guys.
Oh, we're still good. I'm not worried. All right, we're good. Don't worry, guys. That's nothing. Okay, so you could also just form it in even more so, and then you can try to get this like kind of like spike look. And I'm gonna do it on this side so where people can
Well,
see.
just like some Minecraft.
You could also
thing.
like push it in too if you wanted to, even more so. Oops. Okay.
The ink space is going
Yeah.
up pretty quick.
Oh no, we're good, guys. This is nothing. I'm
It's gone
not
up
worried.
12%.
We're good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This is nothing, okay?
1.1%.
All right. Yeah, this is looking really good. So like now that you guys kind of have like your elements there, what you guys can do is you could actually go ahead and grab some dirt. I'll do it on both sides here and like poke it out. You can poke out some like clumps of dirt, and then you could actually take some of your green pieces and apply it. So you can get those kind of like nice like look there. And I'll go ahead and do it on this side too. You go ahead and side. You can just poke out some dirt here. Grab some other stuff here, and you can actually create some stuff here. Like by applying it and kind of like put together like you would see an actual cliff. If you guys ever look at cliffs, you guys should probably will look at cliffs a little bit differently now after making one, right? What you can do after that though is like you can clone the whole thing and just keep layering it, constantly layering your objects.
This looks like something I can.
And that looks pretty good, right? That looks really good. It looks like it took a lot of time, but it did not take me any time. It only took me seconds, really.
It's like 5 minutes.
So you can just like kind of like clone your object, and you can just like kind of push it in differently. And then you can like
What?
grab your other objects,
I'm sorry. I mean,
keep building
sorry about that.
and
Everyone's like
overlapping
so
on
organic.
top of each other to give a really nice like kind of like terrain feel. Now that we have that done, what we can do is like try to create a bottom piece. And this is a really good way of creating a bottom piece. You see how these objects are like really overlapping each other, kind of creating like this nice aesthetic where it's lumpy, but kind of like it looks like dirt and grass. So like it really looks like it's kind of like in the field. You notice how there's not a lot of shapes popping out of it too much. Like the corners are pretty well overlapped where they're not popping out too much. That's the kind of like where you want to get. Like if you're seeing your corners pop out of the ground a lot, then that's kind of kind of ruining the whole terrain look a little bit there. But if you kind of like overlap them in a way where the corners are not popping out too much, then that is a pretty good way of doing things. So when a player is walking across your terrain, they're not lumping over your corners too much there. It looks it flows really nicely, right? So we're gonna go ahead and try that. So to do that, go ahead and route a cube. You want it to be that cube. You want that cube to be pretty thick, just like you were doing the side of the terrain. You want that cube to be pretty thick, pretty wide. Go ahead and this wide.
Dumb
I'm gonna
thick.
make this be thick. So I have a pretty thick square here.
Guys, how old
It's
are you?
pretty big. That is really good. Awesome. Good job. Yeah. So I have this pretty thick square, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap it. I'm just going to take this.
I will color this eventually.
I'm going to clone. I'm just going to put it at an angle. When I put it at an angle, I don't want any like corners popping out when I'm putting these two. So there's no corners popping out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and select both of them. And then I'm just going to angle it. And try to keep it off-centered as much as possible. And I'll probably keep continuing to do that. So I have like this, they're not lining up in any way. They're just kind of like overlapping each other where they're kind of creating this kind of geometric looking shape. Oh no. Okay,
Mine
so
is
like,
from Minecraft.
I don't really get it anymore.
yeah, so go
What
ahead.
am I doing?
Yes, sorry. Alright, so if you, hopefully you guys can hear me still. So like, you see your shapes, just overlap it. Whereas you have like more of a geometric shape. So you want it to be pretty thick shape actually. The reason why you want it thick is because the corners are not going to pop out too much, and that's what you want. You don't want the corners to pop out. You want them to overlap really nicely where it's not creating kind of a pattern. You don't want a pattern because a pattern doesn't really, it's too uniformed, so you want to keep it less uniform as possible.
I like how yours is actually looking. It looks like it came.
I think there's too much green in it.
Yep. We'll change that later. So we're just creating the frame
No, I was just
basically
talking
of the
about
terrain,
mine
and then we'll go back and
personally.
recolor some shapes, so it'll look pretty well done. And then basically that I have it done. I'm just going to go ahead and clone it just to save time, because I do that. I save time a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and clone a bunch of these shapes, trying to not get too much popped out. And what I'll do is, like, if I do have some, I'll just go back and readjust shapes, which is fine. And you know, if you ever like try to align the seams pretty nicely, you can just kind of do it so slightly, and you can
I'm sorry, Marissa, but what did you clone to save time again?
I just recloned the whole shape. So I select the whole thing that I already created, and then I clone it over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it saves a lot of time when you do that.
Yeah.
Now, if you're actually building quite small, which I know a lot of you are, it's actually good to build at a much at kind of like this range and then blow it up. But once you blow it up, you're gonna notice some of the corners popping out. So just like after you blow up a shape, go ahead and readjust them with the manipulation tool.
Marisa, I don't think there's enough ink left.
There's not enough ink.
Alright, so in that case, go ahead and grab your objects right now.
Huh?
Hold on.
Merge them.
All right. So everyone, just take out your maker pen, and then go to configure. Select your object and make it decorational. I'm gonna do this to those here.
I can
Here.
select each individual piece.
There we go. I think it's because people haven't merged their shapes.
I can stand on
Bunch
it.
of-
All right. So now, if you guys take a look at your ink, we made everything decorational. Look how much ink you have. Now, if you made a terrain, you don't want it to be decorational because people, you know, walk through it. But in this case, we're just gonna make it decoration because we have a lot of people in the class right now. So another way of saving space is that you can merge all your shapes. If you have a whole bunch of shapes that are not merged, like if you have one piece of grass here, one piece of grass here, one piece of grass here, go ahead and select all your shapes and merge it together.
There's 3 dots. What the hell does that mean?
You click the select tool and it presses, and it should show up with merge shapes.
Merge shapes. Said merge shapes, now what?
Yeah. See, we have like
click
75% left. A lot of people asked me, how
awesome.
did I get so many
Yeah.
buildings in Highwinds map, which was
Merging.
a map for Harryman Lakes. And what I did was I took all the buildings and I made them decorational. I merged them as much as I could. And then the only thing that's environmental in that map is the land. But everything else is decorational. So it saves so much space and it looks like a really big detailed map. And that's how you do it.
Marisa,
I was wondering
Yeah.
how there was so much stuff.
Marisa, funny story.
Yeah.
I was the one who actually asked you how that.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
one
you weren't
was-
the only one. You weren't the only
the
one.
first The first. I was the first.
All right.
Over.
Okay. So you notice how next you're on screen.
Unfortunately, I hope-
So like when you
Did
look at
Emily
your object, it says you are on screen mode. It's really hard to like position yourself right now. That's gonna change. So you notice how you have like these kind of like blocks out a little bit. What you could do is you can use the manipulation tool and kind of like push them in a little bit. So like if I had like this manipulation tool, oh wait, yeah. If I had, I'm gonna go ahead and draw out stuff like yours just real quick. I'm not gonna use a cylinder because that takes up too much ink, so I don't use those. But like because your shape is kind of like, it looks like this a little bit. You know how how your corners are really pointy, but if you like stretch it out enough, it's like less pointy.
Do you mind if I
And
talk
if you
to
take this shape here, and I know it's really hard for you, so I'm gonna pretend that I'm on screen mode right now. I have it like this. You know how you're getting like kind of like this look? I'm gonna go ahead and go into manipulation, and I'm just gonna manipulate this shape down, and then touch this, and like manipulate this shape to the side. And then I'm just going to select these 2 shapes here,
Well, what are people
and go
using
ahead and clone them.
for?
And then I'm gonna like position it like this, just like what you have here.
Never mind.
Mhm.
And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and manipulate it again. Go ahead and manipulate that. I'm gonna manipulate this down just slightly. Go ahead and manipulate that. And then I kind of get that like kind of like smoother look. This is still really good though. This is still really good. So just keep it. But you know, manipulation could help you smooth out some areas. Very good, guys. Doing great.
Water pond. I don't think you heard.
Pretty great. Yeah, that looks good. So now I want you guys to take. Yeah, go ahead. All right. So let's take a look at your shapes. Oh yeah, you have lots of different shapes. So go ahead and select all your shapes. Just select them,
beautiful.
all of them. All right, and they're gonna see 3 little dots that pop up. Click on 3 little dots,
There's a tiny octopus in a
and it's gonna say merge shapes.
Wait, come over it, Gecko. Come over it.
Yeah, so now it's one shape. So this when you're merging shapes, it's going into one container. What you had before was individual containers, which takes up a lot of space in a room. So if I threw out a bunch of different like shapes and I just press done, 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 that means all those shapes are different containers. You want to merge them all into one container, and then that'll save you all the space. But if I was keep creating a bunch of shapes and I press done, then all those shapes are in one container. And then I start another container, and then I can merge.
My game keeps on freezing.
Yeah.
I'm a tiny guy.
Dan, how much you want to stand bet you can't make a neon tree within 10 seconds?
I don't know how to make trees.
My game is lagging.
I will learn how to make trees, but we're gonna go to a couple of other things. So I guess I'm gonna put around this. I'm gonna just pass this around a little bit. I just want all you guys to like save your stuff. This is looking really good stuff. Good stuff, guys.
Marisa, I got a problem.
was about to make a joke, but then I
Okay,
realized it
make
wasn't.
an
a legal
Alright, so
joke,
if you guys
so
take a look, there's a lot of different ways how you can make trains. Like this one is using pyramids with kind of like this kind of ripply ground effect on top, which is just, you know, doing kind of similar
God,
overlapping that I just
I
taught you
cannot
guys.
shrink this.
Oh,
Rubbish.
that only costs
So you just take a
look.
0.6? Wow.
Yeah, it's super cheap.
I can't say
Yeah,
we
it's
have
on
to
decoration. So when
involve
if you
them.
guys ever want to watch it, walk on it, you need to make it environment. So you can do that by going to configure. So don't forget that.
I think like
My
90%
pond
of
is
the room
hella-
just Bradley.
Bradley.
What do you think of my
Me-
terrain?
Creating.
It looks like terrain.
Yep, save. Yep. Do you have it? Can you save it,
Well, that's
Alex?
cool.
As
However,
an
these
invention?
rocks look like birds.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what did you say to me?
Yeah, I'd save mine as well. Bacon. Bacon.
I can't shrink my pond. It's hella-
Bradley, why did you use that
You
so
can't
much
save-
grass? Was this a Swedish
I
wood?
don't
My
like
mom's-
terrain, we made
my
it
mom
grass.
thinks I'm
It's
a so she
it's in
can-
work
Okay,
in progress, game.
Try to go to your messages. Like if you go to your messages,
Oh my
go to messages, and then click on somebody's message and get the keyboard pop up, and then
Welcome to the Octo Pond.
and then
Listen, I was gonna add some more
unclick
mountain,
it
but I had
where
to
it
like
has the
edit
blue bar
it.
again, and then go
Okay,
back
without
and
do
to
some
try to make an
stuff.
invention. See if that works.
Hold on. Hold on.
No, all right, I'll save it for you then.
Not even-
All right, you're gonna have to stop editing it though.
Blue.
Oh, it did? Okay, great.
Don't tell me what
All
to
right,
do.
good. It's just
My
a little bug that
terrain,
pops every once in a
Now
while.
my
This
hats.
happened.
Actually, hold on. I
Were
need
you
to
able to
fix
save
the
your
reason
stuff?
I wanted to do that.
Psst, origami.
I cannot shrink my
John?
pond without breaking it.
Were you able to save your invention?
Oh, dear.
Your
I
object is
actually
selected. You see this
need
white
to-
dot in the
origami.
middle,
My
in the
terrain of
center
it.
of your
Oh my God.
object. Go ahead and select on that and then scale.
Hi guys.
Yeah. So
Hey.
there's
The
two
Octo
different types of
Pond.
scaling. So when you're in the edit, when you're in the container, it scales a little bit differently. Kind of like stretches the object out a little bit more. But if you are out, it makes it really uniformed when you're scaling.
No, I don't want to clone that. I want to delete some of these rocks actually.
Oh my god.
Okay, so go ahead and if you guys saved your stuff, please go ahead and delete it now. Go ahead and delete it so we can move on a little bit.
To the Octo Pond.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to the Octo Pond.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I have a gift for you. Here you go.
yeah.
I wanted it for was just to make that one on an Octo joke. It's literally it.
So what I'm going to show you right now, I'm not going to teach you how to do this, but it's really easy. You see all of these types of this kind of like layout here. This is all using pyramids. If I go in and edit, you can see like this is a pyramid, and what I did was I just manipulate the object to go down, and like I manipulated different ones
I remember
to
when I
go
used it, it
and I
was
stretched
cool.
them out a little bit, and I made them go up and down. And what I did was I took this blue object here, and then I just kind of went over it. So kind of like create these different kind of like
Oh whoa.
shapes.
So
Here.
they're basically just triangles with
I've actually
water.
been overcomplicating this.
It's
Yes.
called
What
Pig's
am I on?
Bacon.
Yeah. So
Triangles
you could pretty
with
much do
water.
this with anything. Like if I took
2D
this
boy.
and I put it on top of his stuff,
Yes, it-
like it could get like
Oh,
these type of
Monkey.
forms.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You get
Same
it,
with this.
Bradley.
Like I created this like
It's
cliffside
fine.
thing, and I kind of like just put the water on top of it. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start making some
Too
flat
good.
ones, and I'm gonna show you how to do it
Oh mate, it's not.
a more simplistic way of doing it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take out one of the inventions
Ow.
here.
Ow, I can't fly away. Oh, this is like a really small Octo Pond right
Excuse
here.
me, sir. What do you think you're doing on my Kobe Square?
Is this your area?
Then it's treason.
Yeah, this is mine. That's yours.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dude.
I'm in another Octo Pond. I found another one.
All right. So like
Oh, it's
this, for
Minecraft.
example, if you see this terrain here, it's very flat.
Ja.
That's what you
When you
said.
take a look here, like I'm basically going to edit the very flat surface.
I really
This
wanna
is a
make
very
into
flat
a
surface,
fencing
like not
Minecraft
that.
blocks. I'm gonna make that next.
This,
That's
and then I
next thing
just
I'm gonna
kind of like overlaid it with these kind of like little pyramids areas that kind of like add to it just to give it some dynamic. And you see that's actually pretty easy. And then I added like some kind of snow clumps just to give it some more form. But yet it still has that like surface. And what you could do,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So what you could do is you could actually even expand that and just create more flat surfaces. And this is a really cheap way of making terrain. So, but it looks really nice still, you know. You just create the base, you put another kind of like object on top of it that's kind of a different color just to give it enough contrast, and then you just kind of like
It's gone
layered it
very quiet
really
now.
nice. Yeah, layer it kind of nicely on
This
top of
turned
each
into a
other.
Bob Ross video.
Maurice's Bob
Yeah.
Ross changed my mind.
Okay, you gotta
Yeah.
beat the devil out of it.
Alright.
Like jazz.
So hold on, let me look at
PRM,
that
like,
camera skin.
literal.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
So that's how you guys do it. Is that understandable there? So we're gonna start with trees now, if that is. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a tree.
I can't
Oh.
hear Marissa.
I want you to make sure you deselect fixed tube
We're gonna make a
width.
tree. We're gonna make a tree. Deselect fixed
on the
tube
first
width.
page or
Because-
second?
Deselect fixed tube width.
On the second page of the
I've got
settings
to
menu.
come to Marissa.
And then I want you to
Yes.
make sure that you have connected nearby tubes.
So fixed tube length. Fixed tube length.
So make
Uh-huh.
sure that you have tube size set to 25 centimeters. You're connecting to nearby tubes, so that way you can connect your different tubes together. All right, messing around with that a little bit. All right, so now that some of you guys have smooth tubes on, go ahead and deselect smooth tubes.
Ooh.
Oh, what?
So now you're gonna get a blocky shape.
It's
No,
a
I hit my
triangle.
tube.
So smooth tubes are like this. They're smooth. Wait. Yeah, that's smooth.
Dying.
But
Oh my.
deselect smooth tubes, you get more of a
Hello.
triangle shape. There you go. That's really nice. So
Why is there a
now
triangle?
fade.
Kidney.
So yeah, if you ever have like fade
Blue kidney.
world
Looks like a blue
in
kidney.
edit mode, is basically when you're you have the whole world around you that's white, and this is kind of
Oh,
like
looks
really
like-
good for focusing. Like if you're drawing and you're
Horrible.
focused and it keeps you focused on your object that you're working on, you can remove that by
Why is it
deselecting
dead?
fade world in
I
edit
just
mode.
can't do
Bah.
this. That's
a triangle.
What,
All right,
baby?
so another thing is like you have tube height ratio. You have tube height ratio, guys. You can do it really small, or you can create really nice plants, so it's like super thin. It's really great for like planting and stuff. You can go a little bit whiter there, even more so.
Oh.
No, you, I
Yeah,
know you're going for that.
Pretty good stuff, guys. And
No.
then you could do 2 facets. So right now I'm at 6. I can put myself at 10. It gives me more rounded shape. You can create really nice diamonds with this. So it's pretty great.
job.
If you it takes some time. It takes some time. But so we're gonna start making trees now that you guys understand the settings. Okay? So go ahead and
Still
pick
with
out.
the tube sizes.
If
If you select anything higher than 5 sides, everyone else only sees as 5.
I thought
if
that was
someone else
fixed.
say-
Made a hexagon.
I think it's still happening.
I don't think so. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't happen. It hasn't happened in a long time.
Wait, does this appear like 10 or 5? So I'll like 10 or 5 and that'll be your answer. This is 10.
That hasn't happened in a long time.
It's 10. That's supposed to be 10. Can you see that 10?
That's looking like a 5 to me.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
going to
10,
make a
you're at 10,
Minecraft
but you're looking like a
I'm
5.
drawing 10.
Yeah, it's a
That's
5.
drawing 10.
Did you
Is
say
mine
you
supposed
wanna
to?
make a
Is that normal?
Minecraft potion?
Here, let me
Am I
make a
doing
10.
this
I'm
normal?
a 10. Hold on.
I can't
It must have came back
wrong.
then, because it
If you want
stopped
to
for a
save,
while.
yeah, if you want to
Something is wrong
save
with
with
my-
more than 5, only the person who sees it can be the one who saves it. Otherwise, it
I
jump
can't
back
take a
down to
picture of
5.
my thingy menu.
I'm just
I
on.
can't take a picture of
All right. So go ahead and like lay down your object on the ground, just like this.
Twink,
I want
twink.
you guys. Yeah, we're gonna get kind of serious now, guys. So I want
Hey,
you
why is
guys
my
to go
tree
ahead
a
and
triangle?
go ahead and put your shape like flat on the ground, just like this. I want you to have your stem of your tree on the ground. On the ground, guys. On the ground. So you're gonna have your object starting
This is
here.
my tree.
Alright?
Do we keep snap on or off?
You keep it off.
Can't touch the
No
floor.
snapping.
Redid my track.
Aw.
No snapping in this class. No snapping. Alright, so what you're gonna do is like as you fly up, you're gonna fly up and then you're going to slowly release your trigger. So you're gonna fly up, slowly release your trigger. And it's gonna take a couple of times. So you're gonna fly up,
This is
slowly.
I'm not-
And then you're going to overlap it. You can overlap your object.
Oh, this
I
looks
think I
fucking...
got used-
I'm so dirty minded.
I just
Mine looks
think- I
autistic.
think with that branch there, I just actually got used to liking.
Look at it, it's so small at the end.
Alright? And you know how like my tree looks kind of weird, right? It doesn't really look right. But you know what you could do? You can go to manipulation. You can touch the points here. So I'm gonna go in here and touch the points.
I'm dumb. I can manipulate.
Oh no. Bradley,
And you're
no.
just pushing out a little bit. Getting a little more of a tree effect.
Why do my trees look so
Great.
Don't worry about it, man.
I thought Bradley was my real name then. Like for a second I was like, Bradley, really?
bad?
Bradley, that's your name.
My tree's a triangle shape.
Yep,
Why
you
can't
can
we
just
just
draw
do
another
that?
one. Try again.
My name sounds like a Chad name.
I think my tree got dropped on his head when I was born.
I was choked on my...
There you go.
Do you know what? I got stood up by my
Oh, I
friend
see.
today going to the cinema. I was so annoyed. I was like actually furious. Well, I thought I'd been
Dude, my
stood
tree
up.
looks
I
like
got
that
this
too.
kind of crazy tree
Oh.
guys going on. Alright, so I want you to guys go ahead and delete what you made already. And then do it again.
What?
So go ahead and delete it.
I'm not laughing because it's fun, I'm laughing because it's making sense.
I like this tree.
And then I want you guys to start from the bottom
Oh, yeah, a down
and
tree.
fly up slowly, and slowly release your trigger. Slowly
My
release your
tree's
trigger.
anorexic.
DualShock 4 doesn't have pressurized triggers.
I don't have sensitive and I don't have a sensitive.
Hey, what are you doing on my
Really
tree?
have to-
Oh, you doing on
I
my...
end up doing that.
Dude, your
Hey,
tree
I
looks like
don't-
that really anorexic.
Tree
I
looks
don't-
like a touch.
Mine looks...
I'm sorry,
Half
it
of the times
does.
I look at accent, it's like, oh,
Look at the double-sided door.
I'm never gonna beat the first tree I made. I'm never gonna beat that. That tree.
And then go ahead and add some leaves to it. So another way of adding leaves, you can use, a lot of different things. You can use blocks, you can use spheres, you can even use tubes. Like a way I would use tubes is I would just take this object and I'll just kind of like
No, Charlie, don't.
do that a little bit.
Oh, look at the
Because Mom said I
bicep
have
on
to
this
call
tree.
it.
Okay, go look at mine.
This boy's
Hmm?
packing rusty.
And then
Alright,
what
so-
I do is I will scale it up. I'm gonna scale this up. Oh wait, hold on. That was I'm not in edit. I need to get into the container here.
Oh, what a legend.
And then I kind of create this. I'm gonna
don't know what I'm doing.
recolor this shape here.
Making a tree.
Don't want it to be metal. Definitely want it to be green.
This is the one.
And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to flip it upside down.
This is Sir Alabama.
On
If
job.
I can learn to build natural things in Rec Room, I mean Rec Room is the best game and the game I'm best at building on.
You know what, Stan? Why don't you give it your rec room best?
Do you know what? No, I was watching highlights earlier on YouTube because I was bored and I thought I watch Rec Room highlights in a while.
All right. So like, look at how this tree looks. I'm here. Now you don't have to use tubes for everything. You don't even have to use tubes at all to make trees. But this is just an example. Yeah. You don't see fixed tube width.
Oh wait, there. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it selected at all?
I got depression, yeah.
No.
Okay, it's not selected. All right, it might be a screen mode thing, or is there a way when you're drawing, can you release slowly off your trigger? Or is it not?
Marissa.
No.
Marissa.
Okay, so you're stuck that way.
Marissa.
All right, that's fine. Yeah.
DualShock 4 controllers don't contain pressurized triggers, so we won't be able to do the little gradually smaller objects.
Right.
No,
Right.
it keeps attaching to the
Yeah.
parameter.
So what you can do is draw a smaller tube width, and you could do that by going to your tube size and putting it like about 4 centimeters, and try to draw it from here and make sure that you have connected nearby tubes.
My tree, has anyone
My tree looks like it was being hit by another tree.
Jay,
You gotta create.
I think if I was
Look at
drawing
it.
a
Okay.
Lorax,
Okay.
tree would be
It's
perfect.
not
That
really
tree looks like it's the one that
connected.
is your
No, it's not.
Dude, that tree
I
looks
mean,
like it's
it is
about...
on. It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
on.
It's not
Okay.
that bad of a tree.
All right. Try to draw on top of here. I want to see what happens.
That's a lot.
Can we
You
all
left
just
out
hope
for a
that the
second.
Lorax strikes
Yeah. Try to draw on top of here, and I want to see what happens.
Mine looks like...
Bradley.
That's
Okay, so it's not connecting. All right.
Yeah.
That's what I started by
Yeah.
trying
Okay,
to
so
do,
that's just a
Bradley.
screen mode thing. We'll try to fix that.
Yeah.
Not do
Alright, thank you. So what should I
Yeah.
do instead then?
Just
Like,
I think you're doing pretty good. I would just put leaves on top of it, actually. Put leaves on top of
Alright.
it.
Lorax. Have you seen Lorax?
That's looking good, guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you did better on the terrain than me.
I'm gonna show you guys
Yeah.
something.
Oh yeah.
I want to show you guys something real quick.
That's because you do it more times. That's because you do it more times,
You
Charlie.
just plug the USB.
Beautiful.
Just take a look at this.
Charlie, can you please stop?
Whoa, this is like a Mario level.
You can make some really cool stuff, like mixed with tree and terrain. Just really simple stuff that looks, this is really simple, but still really cool, right?
Tree.
No, no,
It's a nice
no.
tree.
Make this
No.
a Minecraft
Yeah.
map.
Yeah.
So this tree is actually not using tubes. This tree is actually using pyramids. So if you go ahead and go to your pyramids, and I basically have a
This man's stuck.
all right. So
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but that's clearly a tree. It's not that rod.
Breakfast.
basically, this tree is like this.
That's
go
going
ahead
to
and
take
make
a
it
lot of
a-
space by doing that.
What's up, my
Stan, did you
broskies?
make a lance?
All
Every
right,
time
go ahead
you-
and
Every time there's a new node, that takes up
all
more
right, and
space.
you can clone it as well. You can clone it.
So every time you see it,
I'm
like,
gonna
like
go ahead and
turn
clone
or
it to
change
the other side. I'm
directions,
gonna like move it to the center
Oh
here,
wait, we're making...
makes it more
Phantom,
expensive.
stop.
and then I'm gonna rotate this object.
I have a
Talk.
question. Why is there someone in a cage over there?
Okay, turn around.
I guess someone was just.
Oh, that's just
Harry died.
He's
Oh wait.
been very naughty.
Wait, like Harry Styles?
No, Harry Potter.
Okay, so you notice how it kind of gives you like a different dimension here. All right, everybody over here, listen up. Yep, in the center. We don't have all day. Come on, guys over there messing around. I want you over here.
Mr. Scream at them.
All right. So, you see how this is pyramid is, and basically what you're doing is you can create very simple trees. If you take a look at these, how they're just blocks, and you got little blocks coming out of them, and these kind of like represent like little leaves that's forming, kind of give it some mass, different types of mass, and be able to like layer those. Those are pretty great. Very easy to do.
Okay.
Very
Yeah,
easy
it's
to do,
perfect.
guys.
No one knows I'm holding it. Right. I need to line up the manipulate. No one knows I'm holding it.
Yeah,
Well,
I made that tree a long time ago.
Gecko.
Having
It's like
fun
one of my
with
first
the,
trees I made in
with
Rec
the
Room.
manipulate by hand.
Yeah.
Everybody
Did you
uses
sit
it
on the
too,
cage
so
over
it's
there?
great.
Jesus, it's all on merge.
Charlie, you're not taking.
What we're doing is I'm going to show you a couple of more things here. Pyramids. Pyramids are great. I'm going to go over them again. Gonna layer them. I'm going to color this one green.
Back to the Egypt times.
Back to
Go
the
ahead and clone.
Egyptian.
And then I
I
can like
shall
scale this
become
one
the
down.
Pharaoh.
Bradley.
Scale this one down. I can actually scale this object down so it doesn't look like it's like too jagged there, because we don't like our trees too jagged. We want them to be quite uniform, where it's bigger at the bottom and goes to the top.
Where did you guys get donuts from?
All right, if you guys
Hey,
keep
is
doing
it
that,
this?
please stop. Thanks.
Hey, you want a donut,
For the
Marissa?
cage.
No, I'm good. All right, so
Okay, you want some
do
ham?
you guys understand that when you guys make pyramid trees, just as you can see here, that there are going from bigger at the bottom and smaller at the top.
Hmm.
All right. So, but if you take a look at this tree here, it has some kind of character to it, right? It's a lot of character. So basically, it's just tilted pyramid. So we're gonna take this apart real quick. You can see like this is actually tilted,
Pyramids
just
on
like
top of
this.
Bradley, where's Bradley? Bradley,
They're
why did you
like
say tilted
tilted to give it the tree a little more character there. Pretty nice.
Well,
Pretty
that's
nice.
not a tree anymore.
Is there a new map
It's
coming
like a
out
Matrix
called
tree.
01 Art 2?
When is
Oh, the
No.
glitch in the
Foxroom gonna
Matrix.
be
He knows all.
Oh, I'm gonna
Remember this building
release
from
it probably the beginning of next month. Actually,
Nice.
I'm
Release
working
what?
on. I got caught up on some
What's been
things.
released?
So
What's being released?
basically,
We can just
I don't know, I didn't hear.
see all the stuff she's making.
What's Marissa released?
01 art
Stuff.
something. That's what I heard.
Alright.
Do you get paid
Oh,
by
right.
Rec Room to do this?
Yeah.
yes.
It's not a Q&A.
Oh wait, she actually. I did not expect that.
No, she works for Rec
No,
Room.
I just do it for fun.
Not funny
All right,
in
She's
class.
So
employee of Rec Room, so yeah, she's paid to do it.
All right. All right, so
Hello,
I'm
my
gonna go
fellow
ahead
clown.
and delete these. I want to show you a couple more
Oh, no,
trees,
headset, no.
actually.
Yay, trees!
Show you this one. Where'd it go? All right.
I love it. Whoa.
So the top
It's alright,
part is
that's
actually a
actually
Cherry
2.
blossom.
The bottom
wanna
part
hug it.
is actually just forms. And like how you do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a light bulb because it is a little bit dark here. Uh-oh, someone deleted it.
That stuff keeps disappearing as well.
Let's not delete it, these guys. All right, who's doing that? Can we stop that? Thanks.
Word, Mary.
All right. All right, here we go.
I can't get down.
All right, so you guys see these forms here? I go into the container. Look how they're just pushed together into the shape. So like getting this kind of like
So many Rec Room logos.
dark shapes, as you can see, giving you some kind of bark look. So if you guys take a look here, I'm gonna like. There's actually, you always want the bottom of your tree to be big, and then you can just kind of like clone your objects to create the base. It's basically what you guys learned to do with the terrain part, with the cliffside. Just kind of like overlap the objects. Right? I want you guys to go ahead and give it a try. Go ahead and try to do that. And just kind of like manipulate it. It's best if you guys are off snap, so make sure you guys are off snap while you're doing this. Better. It's way better off snap. Snap it just creates a lot of blocky shapes and you don't want that. And then I would try to manipulate this
Not many
in
leaves
and
on
then
that
go
tree.
On what tree?
bring
My
this
tree
out
or
into a
tree?
more thinner
Yeah.
point.
On this bit.
3?
Yeah, that's looking really good. Yeah, looks good.
So I assume you're saying I should put more leaves on.
You
Yeah,
can.
it looks
You
like
definitely can.
It looks like it needs a little bit more to balance it out.
Yeah, so
Or
what
just
you
make them
could
bigger
do,
or something.
let's say we have this object, right? This is our leaf, right? We have this one little leaf. What we can do is we can clone this
Yeah, I got
and then
cinema.
manipulate this object in just a little bit, manipulate this little object a little bit, and this a little bit in, a little bit in, and then we're going to clone this up again. And we're just going to manipulate this a little bit, that, and then we're just going to clone again. Clone on this side this time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down, and then I'm going to manipulate this.
Bring that into a smaller point now.
I'm gonna push this down a little bit. So it's giving me some more foliage, right? And then I'm going to draw like a little square here. Press that in.
Can do builds
I'm just gonna bring out some more elements.
I just accept everyone's friend requests.
And, kind of make that one a little bit bigger. I
I
don't
would
really
never
want this
think
one
to
to
do
look.
that.
It takes time.
Marisa, what do you think of my
Alright.
tree?
But now you will, right? Now you will. So there you go. You can give that a
Marisa,
try.
what do you think of my tree?
I think it looks really good, but I would actually here. Yeah, you could. Yeah, if you use spheres to make your tree branches, your trees, it actually is the cheapest way to do it. And a lot of people do this if they're building a really expensive maps. This is the best way to do it for the time being. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so what you can do is you can I would just create a shape. And then I would just like clone that shape up and then manipulate the top part just to be a little bit thinner because you know you want the base of your leaves to be pretty full and the top to be kind of like somewhat thin. And then I'll go ahead and I'll clone this up. And I'll manipulate it down just like so. And then I'll go ahead and clone like I'll actually draw out some like smaller squares. And push them into that object. Like that. And just like kind of like do it randomly, you know, just to bring out some shapes. Yeah. So. Yeah. That's looking really good. I love how you're bringing in some of these elements. That's actually looking very good. That is trippy. I love it, kind of. Actually, it's really fun. Yeah, that's looking really good. I really like that. Nice. Yeah. So if you guys ever take a look at this tree here, go ahead and freeze it. It has like these kind of like elements to it, like a bunch of little blocks sticking in and sticking out.
So I'm not spamming
It kind of almost looks like stairs, like a mountain that you can climb,
Hello.
and it kind of brings out some foliage. So it's always starting pretty big at the bottom, like it's pretty big at the bottom, and then it goes kind of like thin at the top. So that's kind of like how you guys want to think about it a little bit. All right, guys. I would say like this is actually a pretty great exercise for this. So you can go ahead and like save your stuff. And I would say the class is over. So pretty good stuff. Go ahead and post a
That's looking much
picture of
better.
your tree and your land. You could take some more time to work on it, but I would take a picture of it and post it up on the Discord channel.